Minsky, Broadway dancer, Laurie's dancer, and nice dancer. By the mid-70s, Northern Dancer had firmly established himself in the thoroughbred industry through the achievements of his racing offspring. He was the leading sire in North America in 1971 and 1977, and the leading sire in England in 1970, 77, 83, and 84. In 1977, another son of Northern Dancer captured the hearts and stirred the souls of the Europeans. The minstrel, with his stirring stretch runs and flashy style, swept through the British Isles with abandon. Americans got a glimpse of his competitive spirit thanks to a summer television broadcast from Ireland by CBS.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jack Whitaker at the Curragh, along with our colleague, the voice of Irish racing, Michael O'Hare. And this, the richest horse race ever held in Ireland, Michael.
Yes, Jack, it's going to be worth over $200,000 divided between 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's an international race. Horses from England, from France, and, of course, from Ireland here to run in this mile-and-a-half race in grass.
15 horses going, but all eyes are on the favorite, which is the minstrel who won the Epsom Derby just 3 weeks ago. And I suspect, Michael, the best way to show the pre-race drama here is to take a look at how Lester Piggott aboard the minstrel won that over there at Epsom just 3 weeks ago. We pick up the call 2 furlongs from home.
Coming to the 2-furlong marker, it's Hot Grove from the minstrel, then Blushing Broom, and Monseigneur still making rapid progress towards the stand side. But it's Hot Grove from the minstrel and Blushing Broom, then Monseigneur moving into fourth. They're racing into the closing stages now, and it's Hot Grove from the minstrel, Blushing Broom, and Monseigneur. 100 yards to run in the derby. The minstrel coming to challenge Hot Grove, and it's Lester Piggott and Willie Carlton. The minstrel on the near side, Hot Grove on the north side, and the minstrel wins it from Hot Grove. Blushing Broom is third.
Unlike the larger Nijinsky, the minstrel is small and muscular in appearance, far more like his sire, Northern Dancer. Because of his type, the minstrel's stamina was suspect in Ireland in spite of his recent win in the Epsom Derby. During most of the Irish sweeps, he was held back in the pack and always started to make his move from the outside, turning into the home stretch.
But here comes the minstrel. They're coming to the furlong pole, and the minstrel being challenged by Lucky Sovereign now on the near side. And Classic Example moving on the inside with 150 yards to go. There's nothing going to beat him. He's hanging like blazes over to this side. He's going down to the line, and it is the minstrel is the winner. In second place, Lucky Sovereign, then Classic Example, Orchestra, then the 2 Frenchmen, Herculano, and alongside him, Monseigneur. After that comes Aristocracy, then comes Milverton, Le Monde comes next, then starts.
The minstrel was named Horse of the Year in England and Ireland in 1977. 6 years later, Joe Thomas talked admiringly about him in an interview at Winfield Farms in Maryland.
He had such tremendous success in Europe as a racehorse. He came along when the mystique of Northern Dancer was gaining, but he's a magnificent horse. I just love this horse. See, there's a lot of Northern Dancer about him. He's although he's a little more square, where Northern Dancer is more of a rectangle. But here again, you see this horse won the Epsom Derby. He won the Irish Derby. He won the King George and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, and he had a hard campaign. And this horse was tough too. He won he got beat in the 2,000 guineas, and Vincent O'Brien was very reluctant to run him in the Derby, and it was Lester Piggott that convinced him. He said, "Run this horse in the Derby, he'll win it," and he won it just on sheer determination. And you look at him, he's clean as can be. He looks like the day he was born. There's not a blemish on any of his 4 legs, and he's just a magnificent little horse.
By the end of the 1970s, more offspring had reached championship status, including Northernette, Ghibli, Dance in Time, and Try My Best. As Northern Dancer's popularity grew, so did his stud fee, from 25,000 live foal in 1971 to a figure in excess of $1 million with no guarantee by the early 1980s. People would seemingly pay any amount to breed to the stallion because when the resulting foals raced, a high percentage were bona fide racehorses. In fact, through 1981,
Him bringing the big bucks?
Well, I think he'll sell real well. He is really a nice individual and the best I've ever bred.
Hip number 308 is the property of Crescent Farm, a dark bay or brown colt by Northern Dancer, out of My Boopers by Boopers.
For a day and a half, the people have been waiting, holding their breath, as the bidding goes higher and higher, waiting for the men who battle with big money to blow the roof off, to face off in this high-stakes poker game. American buyer Wayne Lucas opens at $1 million. Then Sangster and Mactoom take over.
At $2 million, $3 million, Charlie Boy. $2 million, but he get 3, 5. At 2, 3, but he get $2 million, $3 million, $3 million, $4 million. At $3 million, 4, 4, but he get $3 million, $4 million. At $3 million, $4 million, 4, but he get $3 million, 5. Now 4. At 3, 5, 4, but he get $3 million, 5, 4. Now 5. At 4 million, 500, Charlie, but he get $4 million, 500.
It takes only 45 seconds for hip number 308 to set a new record. $4,500,000. The battle has just been joined.
At 5, 9, 6 million, but he get 5, 9, but he get 6 million. Now 1. At 6 million, 100, but he get 6 million, 100.
$6 million and rising. The bidding is where it has never been before.
Now 7. At 6,900,000. At 6,997,000. At 7. Thank you. Now 1. At 7,100,000. At 7,100,000 for him. At 7,100,000. But he gets
$7 million. All spending records for a horse have been shattered. The Sheik and the Englishman show no signs of backing down. Each is calling, then raising the pot.
How about that? 7, 7, 8 million. At 8 million. Thank you. 8,200,000. At 8,200,000 for him. 8,200,000. 8,200,000, sir. 8,000,000.
The excitement grows as these two giants, Mactoom and Sangster, pit their wits and money, big money, against each other, each topping the other's bid. All other bidders have for a long time grown silent.
900. Now 9 million, Dale. At 8, 9. 9 million for him. At 8, 9. Thank you. Now 1. 9,100,000. Yes, sir.
Before you go much further, Ted, would you like to come up and cut another digit up here?
We have 9 million bid for him. 9-2 back there.
As Tom Caldwell says, there's no room for another million on the tote board. 10 million would make the board obsolete.
10 million, 2, 3. Are they done, Dale? 10,200,000. At 10, 2, 3. But he get 10, 2. But he get 10, 3. Are they all through? At 10,200,000. 10,300,000 where? At 10,200,000, 3. 10,200,000 end. They said they're done. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you. 10,200,000 and I've sold them.
All during the 1970s and 1980s, Northern Dancer has been at or near the top of the yearling market. His averages reached over $1 million for the first time in 1981. The all-time record average was recorded under Northern Dancer's name in 1984. That average will probably never be equaled. 14 yearlings averaged over $3,300,000 each. Today, the record price for any horse sold at public auction stands at $13.1 million. By Nijinsky's second yearling, a grandson of Northern Dancer. It is unlikely that the market will ever reach these heights again, and it is also unlikely that there will ever be another commercial stallion as influential as Northern Dancer. The stallions that continue to have a major impact on the market are predominantly sons and grandsons of Northern Dancer. Northern Dancer's impression on the market will be felt for generations to come. Northern Dancer retired from the breeding shed early in 1987 with only 1 or 2 mares in foal. His last productive year was 1986 when, at the age of 25, he settled most of a blue book of 32 mares consisting of multiple stakes winners, multiple stakes producers, and champions. 1986 also featured the inaugural running of the Maryland Million, an event conceived by Jim McKay to raise the profile of Maryland-based stallions. The $100,000 Ryland Group Maryland Turf was won by Glow, a 3-year-old son of Northern Dancer owned by Sonia Rogers of Ireland. The $200,000 Budweiser Maryland Classic was won by Herod, a 4-year-old son of Northern Dancer owned by John Franks of Louisiana. Northern Dancer was the only multiple sire, a happy ending to his last active year. As the years go by and the sons and daughters of the Great One go off to major breeding farms, they continue the legacy. Northern Dancer will no longer have his foals to represent him at the sales and on the track, but many of his offspring will continue on for him. Consider his principal sons. Nijinsky II, in 1986, leading sire in England and Ireland and sire of both